Inside the sewing workshop of a grim, gray prison, there's a slight, unassuming man hunched over a sewing machine, completely absorbed in his work. He's lost in the rhythm of the needle and thread, totally focused. A split second of carelessness, and the needle pierces right through his finger. Now, this guy, Juk, he wasn't just any inmate. Before he was locked up, he was a prosecutor, a fiercely honest, righteous prosecutor who always stood up for what was right. So, from the moment he arrived in this place, let's just say special treatment was inevitable. And it wasn't because his crime was super serious, or because he was particularly weak. No, it was because a whole bunch of the other prisoners were guys he'd personally put behind bars. That's right, he was the reason they were there. So yeah, pretty much from day one, he became public enemy number one. The smile he used to have, gone, replaced with tears. Every single day, he was getting beaten from morning to night. Each beating became a nightmare, haunting his every breath. Even while he was working, he felt dazed and empty. Every night, Juk would stay up, writing appeals, desperately trying to clear his name. He was fighting to prove his innocence. But every single time, those appeals were intercepted and dealt with by the prison warden before they ever reached the higher-ups. Nobody could have predicted that, in a short time, this man would undergo a complete transformation. From a guy getting his face bashed in every day, he would mysteriously become the king of the prison. He didn't have to work, yet he ate like royalty, living the good life with fancy food and his own private cell where he could sleep in all day long. Everybody, even the guards, had to call him boss. No one dared cross him. Now, here's the million-dollar question. What toxic wind blew Juk into this mess? How did the hell did a respected prosecutor wind up in prison? And even more importantly, how the heck did he manage to clear his name after 5 long years of darkness inside that cell? Well, the whole story starts with a scandal, a dirty secret surrounding a big resort development project. The plan was for some huge corporation to bulldoze a protected bird migration area to build a fancy, high-end resort. Predictably, this plan was met with huge resistance from bird-loving environmental groups. The cops showed up, but instead of calming things down, their presence seemed to fuel the fire. A full-blown confrontation erupted between the protesters and the police. Then, out of nowhere, a group of people wearing protest gear, but armed with clubs and bats, charged into the crowd. Without saying a word, they started tearing down fences and shoving the police officers, sending them sprawling. In the chaos, one of the club-wielding thugs struck an officer, seriously injuring him. Because of this attack on law enforcement, public opinion did a complete 180. Overnight, the protesters went from environmental activists to violent extremists. That's when Juk, the prosecutor assigned to the case, stepped in. He reviewed the whole situation and immediately saw a problem. Without a second thought, he was certain the real puppeteer behind the entire situation was the big group. When Juk finally confronts Yang, the chairman of the whole group, the guy straight up denies everything. He's bold as brass, completely stonewalling Juk. And then, he has the nerve to warn him. If you don't want to kiss your career goodbye, Yang says, you'd better stay out of the group's business. A good dog gets petted by its owner. Someone who knows what's good for them gets rewarded. That's the way the world has always worked. And you need to understand that. Besides, Yang continues, all sanctimonious. A prosecutor shouldn't have such a blatant disregard for human rights like you do. Over so many trials, Juk has sent so many unfilial sons into prison. Though his achievements are high, the way he acts is really barbaric. Do you know why I had to overcome the rain and sun, and study in a frenzy for 11 years so that I could step into the Supreme Prosecutor's office? Someone as shallow as you definitely won't have the answer, so I'll tell you. It's only because I want to put people like you in prison that I have to do this. Little did Juk know, just moments after Yang left, Juk's own boss, a guy named Jonggil, got a phone call from a powerful, old senator. If you looked closely, you'd see a plaque hanging in Jonggil's office with the words on it. Basically, it means you should have the sharp vision of a tiger and the steadfastness of an ox. This scene reeks of corruption. Soon after, there's this casual meeting at the prosecutor's office, some kind of team-building lunch. And during the meal, Jonggil keeps subtly reminding Juk to be mindful of his attitude when dealing with the people. As if that weren't enough, Jonggil brings up the Newtown scandal again. He pointed out that there was nothing that could prove the one who hit the police was Yang's man. So Juk shouldn't be overly arrogant with his views. Despite the boss's not-so-subtle warning, Juk acts like he doesn't care. He's determined to quietly and methodically take down everyone backing that resort project. No matter what, it's like all of Jonggil's cautions go in one ear and out the other. He's dead set on interrogating the suspect who assaulted the police officer. Wanting to get to the bottom of it, that night, despite his boss explicitly forbidding him from conducting the interview, Juk just waltzes in, casually dismisses the guards, and kicks them out of the room. At this point, he still has no idea that this rash decision is about to backfire on him in the worst possible way. Sitting in front of him is a prisoner with no strong opinions of his own, and on top of that, he has asthma. The way he needs to constantly use his inhaler, JUK is sure this guy is not a violent person. The prisoner sticks to his story, claims he's an environmental activist. He felt that he was wronged because of the actions of the corporation, so he accidentally injured the police. He didn't expect this, and he is now very regretful. But as JUK keeps pressing him, the prisoner starts playing the part of a true blue bird lover. He rattles off facts about the migration patterns and behaviors of different species. If you did your research, he claims, you'd know that geese migrate south when winter arrives in Russia. During their 15-day journey, they don't stop anywhere else. No surprise the protected area is the only place they choose to rest and feed. Seeing the guy's nervous, rehearsed demeanor, JUK knows this whole story is BS. He skips the gentle questioning and goes straight for the hardball tactics. JUK rips the prisoner's clothes open and shoves him face first onto the table. You lying piece of garbage, covered in tattoos, and you dare call yourself an environmentalist? Even pushed to the brink, the guy refuses to crack. What happens next is JUK's worst nightmare come true. The next day, the suspect is dead, no goodbye, right there in the interrogation room. And that's exactly why JUK is invited down to the police station to answer some uncomfortable questions. And John Gill, instead of backing his employee, he holds a press conference to address the media. He makes sure the public knows that, as a leader, he is going to show the guy what justice really is. He then bows and issues a groveling apology to the victim's family. The internet explodes. Online sleuths dig up JUK's past, highlighting his previous incidents of using force to uphold the law. The public is already on edge, and the media is fueling the fire. No explanations, no defense. Just one day, and poof, JUK is the prime suspect, the murderer in everyone's eyes. Standing before the judge, JUK insists the victim died from his asthma. But then, the victim's best friend takes the stand and flatly denies it. His friend might not have been the sharpest tool in the shed, but he was perfectly healthy. And, to top it all off, there were no guards or surveillance cameras in the interrogation room at the time, meaning all the evidence is pointing directly at JUK. As JUK is scrambling to figure out what to do, John Gill suggests that JUK plead guilty. John Gill explains that it is the only way for him to reframe the case as self-defense. He explains that he is only doing this to protect JUK. Instead of debating about what made the victim leave this world, let's look at the laws and reality. In the end, this is the only way we can save you. We hope you understand. While JUK is locked away in the holding cell, completely in the dark, the guard secretly hands John Gill the victim's inhaler. This is the one piece of evidence that could clear JUK's name immediately. But instead of turning it over, John Gill just throws it into the river without a second thought. That's right. The truth is gone forever, buried in the watery depths. Heartless, unaware of this shocking betrayal, JUK puts his faith in the wrong person. Under relentless questioning by the court, he takes the fall, confesses to everything. Thinking things might change, JUK cites self-defense, but the court rejects it due to a lack of evidence. JUK is stunned, but John Gill doesn't lift a finger to defend his employee. The evidence points to JUK, and he's confessed. JUK is sentenced to 15 years in prison to pay for his crimes. Time seems to freeze as JUK stares blankly ahead for 10 whole seconds as the judge reads the verdict. In a moment of utter desperation, he turns around to look for John Gill, begging for help. But John Gill callously turns away and leaves without even looking at him. Why did you lie to me, Deputy Chief Prosecutor? Why am I going to prison when I'm innocent? John Gill, like a tiger, uses his sharp eyes to assess the situation and seize the opportunity, pouncing on his prey. Like an ox, always pushing forward, steadfast no matter what happens. That's John Gill's motto. The tiger and the ox. What a snake. Because he put his trust in the wrong person, JUK lost his career and is now headed down a path of prison life. During those dark days inside, JUK lives by one rule. Instead of getting beaten in the shadows, go right to the place where you'll be beaten in public. All the prison guards know JUK is getting beaten every day, but they've all taken bribes from the other prisoners, so they turn a blind eye, acting like nothing's happening. They ignore him. His face is swollen up like a dumpling from all the beatings, but they don't stop. JUK just silently endures the inhumane torture. Then, one day, while watching TV, he sees John Gill smiling and triumphant at the grand opening of the new resort. It's like a punch to the gut. JUK finally realizes he's been played, led down a garden path by John Gill the whole time. That night, he stays up all night writing appeals, desperate to clear his name. But a cunning guy like the deputy chief prosecutor has already seen this coming, so he makes a quick phone call to the prison warden, and just like he predicted, JUK's appeal is intercepted the very next day. Once you're in here, nobody's innocent. The guard sneers. Don't go breaking the rules again. You should stay in your lane. Any flicker of hope is quickly extinguished. But just when it seems like things can't get any worse, JUK's life takes another unexpected turn. One day, while hanging laundry, JUK overhears a guard talking about a tricky real estate lawsuit he's dealing with. JUK pipes up, mentions he's handled similar cases before. So, after sharing a bowl of noodles, JUK not only easily resolves the guard's legal headache, but even teaches him how to demand more compensation. The guard is blown away. When JUK asks for another bowl of noodles, the guard happily obliges. Seeing this, another guard asks for JUK's help, but JUK sees an opportunity and asks for a small favor in return. Immediately, the guard bursts into the prisoner block with other guards. Without saying a word, they beat the heck out of a bunch of prisoners. Then, they kick everyone else out, and JUK successfully gets himself moved to his own private cell. The news spreads like wildfire throughout the prison. Even the warden starts coming to JUK for help. They're bringing him expensive cigarettes and stuff. Getting these gifts, JUK generously shares with his fellow inmates. Before long, he's the most popular guy in prison. Even the prisoners who hated his guts are changing their tune. Because if he's willing to help, they can get their sentences reduced or even overturned. So everyone starts calling him boss. This is laying the foundation for him to turn things around later on. Time flies by and 5 years pass in a blur. One day, a new con man arrives at the prison, one of the guys involved in the resort incident. At first, JUK doesn't pay him any attention, until one day when he sees pictures of migrating birds on TV. Trying to show off, the con man blurts out something that snaps JUK awake. Those are migrating birds. They fly from Russia to Korea in 15 days. They don't rest or eat the whole time. Almost instantly, JUK jumps up. Acting on instinct, he grabs the guy and starts grilling him. Where did you hear about those migrating birds? How do you know that? What's wrong with this old man? Get your hands off me. What's going on? Chi-won says in a panic, insisting that it's something he learned while studying abroad in America. Little does he know, their paths have just crossed in a life-changing way one day. Chi-won is meeting with his lawyer when JUK, using his connections with the guards, bursts right into the room. After looking over Chi-won's case file, JUK figures out how to get his sentence reduced. With JUK's expert analysis, not only is the lawyer nodding along, but Chi-won can finally see a glimmer of hope. After breaking through Chi-won's mental defenses, JUK immediately pushes his advantage, inviting Chi-won to his private cell. At first, Chi-won is hesitant, but when he hears JUK can help him get out of prison, he can't resist the allure of some fried chicken. So he spills everything he knows to JUK. Finally, JUK knows for sure the corporation is behind it all, and he knows one of the accomplices, the one with asthma who needs an inhaler. This is huge. After hearing Chi-won's story, JUK makes a tough decision. I hate guys like you, JUK says, always leeching off other people your whole life. But this time, even if you don't want to get out, I'm getting you out of here. While Chi-won's lawyer is working on reopening the case, JUK gives Chi-won all the documents and information he needs about the people involved. He's going to use Chi-won to work on the outside and help him overturn his own conviction. Because JUK knows they're up against some seriously dangerous people, Chi-won can't afford to screw this up. Even though Chi-won seems a bit clueless, he's a master con artist. He lies, pretending to be a foreign exchange student, and successfully cons a rich woman. Even though he's locked up in prison, she's completely devoted to him. I bought a house in my name, she says. When you get out, even if it's a bit cramped, we'll be happy together. Right, honey? He's a true schemer. Then, he uses emotionally charged words to seduce the naive rich girl. That's how he becomes JUK's invaluable partner down the road. Soon after, Chi-won successfully perfects the signature that JUK had him practicing, because this signature is going to be crucial later. While all this is being prepared, Jong-gil remains completely unaware. Chi-won, using the information JUK provided, successfully clears his name in court. Overjoyed, Chi-won kneels before JUK, thanking him for helping him get his freedom back. He even says that after he gets out, he's definitely going to help JUK. Let's start working together now. I want to get justice for you right now. At this point, JUK finally feels a sense of relief, but little does he know the kid is going to betray him later on. After getting out of prison, Chi-won first uses JUK's savings to transform himself into the picture of success. He's constantly throwing lavish parties with bird enthusiasts, especially those bird enthusiasts who were hired by the corporation. Even though the chubby guy gave false testimony years ago, he's still hesitant to talk. But Chi-won gets him drunk, and his genuine sympathy for his dead friend, Jin-suk, accidentally makes him open up. But I still don't get it. Jin-suk was such a weak guy. How could he have done it? And his asthma wasn't even that bad. What did you just say? Asthma? He had asthma? Chi-won asks. Of course. I knew him well. I know he was asthmatic, the man answers. The chubby guy doesn't know that the whole conversation has been recorded by Chi-won. With the help of another inmate, the recording is successfully smuggled into the prison. Chi-won's first mission is a complete success. He did not disappoint Juk. So the boss did it, huh? Juk asks. Yeah, the boss is the one who turned Jin-suk into that, Chi-won replied. So, you're saying it wasn't the prosecutor? Later, this recording, along with the appeal file, appears before the judge. Yang finds out and flies into a rage. He takes it out on his underlings. But the angrier one is the deputy chief prosecutor from years ago, because he's running for senator now. If all their scandals are exposed, the consequences will be devastating. You idiot! You can't even handle something this small. Jong-gil yells at Yang. Even though Yang is a big shot, in the eyes of the cunning Jong-gil, he's just a greedy pest. Then, he pours boiling water on the floor, warning Yang to take care of the situation as soon as possible. Furious, Yang immediately sends his goons to beat the crap out of the chubby guy who spilled the beans. Afterward, the idiot calls Yang, asking for instructions. If I tell you to take care of it, you have to figure it out yourself. Why are you calling me for directions? Yang replies, annoyed. Later, Yang meets with Judge Park, who used to handle their case, now promoted to minister, under the guise of meeting an old friend. Jong-gil wants him to squash Juk's appeal. Look at the scroll hanging on the wall, because Judge Park read Choi Hyo's poem The First Return Home. The poem talks about wanting to return home after getting tired of bureaucratic life. And these two are talking about political conspiracies. Even though Min-woo doesn't know all the dirty dealings going on behind Jong-gil's back, Judge Park still agrees to help him advance his political career. Later, Judge Park visits Juk in prison, telling him the recording can't be used as evidence. Not only that, but he tries to persuade Juk to drop the case. But Juk isn't the kind of guy to give up so easily. Meanwhile, Chi-won is still keeping a close eye on everything on the outside. After seeing the chubby guy beaten into a vegetative state, he starts to hesitate about helping Juk anymore. Hey, I've thought about this a lot. I paid you back. Okay, don't call me anymore. Chi-won pleads to Juk, but he underestimates Juk's tactics. One day, while he's on a date with the rich girl, a pickup truck suddenly blocks his car. Chi-won gets out to see what's going on, but the guy just opens the car door, gets out, and starts beating Chi-won to a pulp without saying a word. His girlfriend tries to help, but the goons stop her. Afterward, the guy warns Chi-won to remember to repay his debts. With no other choice, Chi-won visits Juk again, the man who helped him escape. Juk warns him that if he doesn't cooperate, he'll expose Chi-won. Then even Yang's people won't give him a place to hide. Poor Chi-won is completely trapped in Juk's clutches with no escape. Following Juk's next move, Chi-won joins Jong-gil's campaign team. Through energetic dancing and showmanship, he catches Jong-gil's eye and even gets a photo with him. His handsome appearance also wins over the older women who, after hearing he's a foreign exchange student, want to introduce him to their daughters. Even though the girl says she has a boyfriend, her body can't resist Chi-won. And even more surprising, this girl is Jong-gil's secretary. After a steamy, passionate encounter, Chi-won successfully gets a hold of Jong-gil's ledger. The evidence is safely delivered to the prison. So Juk is brought before the judge again. The judge questions him about why he pleaded guilty before. That's when Juk drops the bomb and names Jong-gil. The one who pushed me down this path was that bastard Jong-gil. Juk yells. What are you saying? Who are you referring to? I'm requesting a retrial. I'll tell everything in court. Finally, the judge grants Juk's appeal, which is beyond Min-woo's wildest dreams. So, the relationship between him and Jong-gil starts to change subtly. After all, I've helped as much as I could, but nobody can expect me to stay tied to this forever. If it's not beneficial enough, let's just part ways. Everyone values the seat they're sitting on. No one wants to take the fall. He thinks to himself. You arrogant bastard. Are you daring to betray me? Jong-gil angrily says to Min-woo. Then, Jong-gil calls the prison warden to tell him to take good care of Juk in prison. So, in an instant, the guards burst into Juk's cell. They search through all the documents he's collected and even throw him in solitary confinement for 30 days for possessing forbidden items. Inside, the other guards who had helped Juk are also implicated and punished. After finishing his time in solitary confinement, Every move JUK makes is watched by the guards. Luckily, his fellow inmates are still kind. They will still help JUK in secret. After preparing thoroughly, JUK and Chi-won have one last meeting. Because the phones are bugged now, JUK pretends to pray, reciting a passage from the Bible. Chi-won cleverly understands immediately and uses that code to go to the bank and withdraw a large sum of money. Even though the bank teller keeps winking at him, Chi-won can control himself this time. The gatekeeper, who used to help Jong-gil, has since been fired by him and is now struggling to make ends meet. Turns out, this amount of money is enough to make the gatekeeper talk. To approach Minister Park, Chi-won spends money buying an expensive suit and pretends to be a prosecutor from another district, sneaking into this high-level party. However, he doesn't immediately approach Min-woo. Instead, he intentionally approaches another minister who likes to make friends. This minister doesn't actually have any power, but he loves being flattered. So, Chi-won pretends to be a junior from the same school, flattering the minister to the point where he's dizzy with delight. Then, he continues following JUK's plan, using topics and opinions that match their interests, winning over the other prosecutors. After being accepted by everyone, he takes out an expensive bottle of wine to treat them. That quickly makes him the center of attention at the party. Even though Min-woo is suspicious and hard to approach, his ego is incredibly strong. He definitely won't pass up any opportunity to show off. So, thanks to the minister's introduction, Chi-won successfully gets close to Min-woo. To gain Min-woo's trust, Chi-won even pretends to have gone to the same high school as him. That successfully grabs Min-woo's attention. But unexpectedly, the next second, the old man forces him to show his cards. You went to the same school as me? Who was your homeroom teacher then? How could I forget the teacher who taught me? His name is Do-sang. Is he still working at that little school? If I heard correctly, that's the truth. After gaining Min-woo's trust, Chi-won directly visits him at his home and takes out evidence of Jong-gil, using Jae-wook to illegally raise campaign funds. Min-woo asks Chi-won why he's showing him this. Chi-won sincerely says that he knows Min-woo and Jong-gil have an unusual relationship, so he just wants Min-woo to be mentally prepared. As expected, this act definitely pleases Min-woo. Wow, kid, you're even better than I thought. Straightforward, understanding, I like you a lot. From that moment on, he officially considers Chi-won as one of his own. So, when his secretary reminds him about a meeting, he tells Chi-won to wait for him in his office because he wants to chat with Chi-won a bit more afterward. After Min-woo leaves, Chi-won immediately follows JUK's plan, finding the summons for Jong-gil to appear in court. Then, he signs Min-woo's name, the signature he's practiced countless times. When Min-woo returns to the office, the summons has already been sent to the court by the secretary. Seeing his signature on the summons, Min-woo realizes he's been used. Furious, Jong-gil brings the summons and confronts Min-woo, but Min-woo has changed his tune and immediately fights back. After investigating, I discovered that there are a lot of serious problems that you haven't addressed. Why are you suddenly talking so rudely? You don't want to cooperate anymore? Then we'll meet in the Supreme Court to resolve this. Seeing Jong-gil confidently leave, Min-woo is so angry he's fuming. Without thinking too much, he immediately orders his people to arrest all of Jong-gil's underlings. At the same time, Chi-won, who's pretending to be a prosecutor, is discovered. Jong-gil is furious when he finds out. You're the one who provided evidence to JUK, so he orders his men to beat him up. Just when the bronze hammer is about to come crashing down on Chi-won's head, a piercing police siren breaks the terrifying silence. The public prosecutor's office arrives in time to save Chi-won's life. Jong-gil's men see this and scatter in a panic, but they're all eventually arrested by the authorities. Even though he escaped, Chi-won's disguise as a prosecutor has obviously been exposed. However, he remains calm, relying on JUK's advice, and delivers a powerful blow to Min-woo's ego. He intentionally hints that heroes only emerge during times of chaos. This statement hits home for Min-woo, who craves fame and recognition. For him, taking down a candidate who has broken the law is the fastest way to become a famous prosecutor. Overnight, Jong-gil is restless and anxious. 5 years since that fateful day, he returns to the prison for the first time. Even though he knows you can't step in the same river twice, he still wants to use the same trick to fool his old friend, JUK. This time, he promises to use his pardon power to free him after he's elected president. But JUK isn't as naive and inexperienced as the day he was tricked. He knows all the promises coming out of this old fox's mouth are just lies. Even though he's cornered, Jong-gil tries to act all high and mighty, lecturing JUK. If you, JUK, had just listened to me obediently and hadn't filed that appeal, none of this would have happened. JUK fires back, challenging him. If you're so good, Why don't you say those words to my face in front of the judge? I want you to know, I've dedicated 25 years to the prosecutor's office. Don't forget who guided you when you first started out. So, don't you dare dream of throwing me in prison. Old habits die hard. Huh? You're still clinging to that pretense of being exceptional, I see. I don't know if you're still performing the same trick of watering down the alcohol to fool people. Are you not sick of doing this so many times? You think you're cunning enough to fool us, but little do you know that we've not wanted to expose your tricks. If you like, we'll meet again in court, and I'll find a way to put you in jail. This case is linked to John Gill, who's preparing to run for senator, so it's attracting attention from the media. No one expects that right before the trial, the prison warden intentionally arranges for JUK to be alone, and then he's suddenly stabbed by his most trusted inmate friend. The inmate friend is trembling and bowing, apologizing. He says he was pushed to the brink, so he had to do it, because the defendant fails to appear in court. The judge is forced to postpone the trial. John Gill almost can't hide his glee, nearly laughing out loud because he thinks everything is under control. But at the very moment the hammer is about to fall, JUK unexpectedly appears, covered in injuries. His presence silences the entire courtroom, and a moving, epic defense begins. Wanting to repay his debt, Chi-won willingly steps forward to testify for JUK. He points out that the victim in the case actually had an asthma attack at the time of the incident, not an injury as the prosecution claims. Not stopping there, he continues to expose John Gill's corruption in the resort development process, revealing that he used cash to bribe Yong to manipulate the situation. When the judge demands evidence, Chi-won confidently pulls out his phone, displaying a pre-prepared photo. He confirms the picture was taken at the exact moment of the incident. At this point, John Gill truly feels the weight of his former protégé's cunning. Not only is he smart and persistent, but he also calculates every move with painstaking detail. When John Gill appears in court, Min-woo doesn't bring up JUK's case as everyone expected. Instead, he unexpectedly unleashes a series of evidence related to John Gill's illegal fundraising activities in the past. Even though John Gill tries to argue that these documents aren't directly related to the case at hand, Min-woo is determined to expose everything in court. His real goal isn't to argue the law but to use this trial as a stage to expose his opponent to the public. Then, JUK begins his defense with a completely different approach. Instead of immediately clarifying the cause of the victim's death, he questions the entire courtroom about the real motives behind the case. Not stopping there, JUK specifically points to John Gill as the true mastermind pulling the strings. Faced with this shocking accusation, John Gill immediately rebuts, claiming it's just baseless speculation without clear evidence. Who would have expected that at that moment? The police officer who directly guarded the scene of the crime would enter. Not only that, but he brings with him an incredibly important piece of evidence. JUK seizes the opportunity to take out the old investigation record and points out that it clearly states that at the time of the victim's death, there was no breathing apparatus nearby. This means the person who took the breathing apparatus is the real killer. Seeing everyone in the courtroom nodding in agreement with his logical argument, JUK delivers the final blow. He demands to play the recording of the conversation between John Gill and the police officer. I have given you so much money, why do you still want more? Of course, with a money grubber like me, it's never enough, and you need to give me another $5,000 for this thing to be quiet. Rest assured, after being elected, the money will be safe in your account, but from now on, don't come looking for me again. That's right. Has the deceased's breathing apparatus been disposed of carefully? Upon hearing this, JUK suddenly pauses the recording. The atmosphere in the courtroom is as tight as a string, and he slowly pulls out an asthma inhaler. The whole room breaks out because everyone understands the truth is about to be revealed. Not letting the silence last, JUK walks straight to John Gill, his eyes sharp as knives, giving him one last chance. Confess your sins honorably before justice takes its course. This time, I kept my promise to bring you before the law to be punished. I really don't understand why there is a madman like you in this world. Anyway, you were a prosecutor working in the government, but you intentionally created false evidence to deceive the entire trial. How can you assert that what I just presented is false evidence? Do you have any proof that my evidence is fake or not? Or were you the one who threw the real evidence into the Han River? By the time John Gill could react, it was too late because he had fallen into JUK's trap. Seeing the dazed look on his face, JUK continued to play the recording. Is the breathing apparatus you mentioned the deceased's asthma inhaler? It must be at the bottom of the Han River. You were the one who threw it away. As soon as the words ended, the whole room immediately reverberated with murmurs and murmurs. The vast majority of the senators present began to feel uneasy. After 5 years of being wrongly accused, JUK finally used his intelligence and courage to clear his name. The extremely fierce table flip the last-minute turnaround caused Jong-gil, who claimed to be a tiger and an ox, to bow his head and accept his fate. In the end, Min-woo officially became a star prosecutor as he had always dreamed. After all, he also chose not to pursue Chi-won's case as a thank you for turning the tide. As for Juk, after a series of days living in prison, he was finally free to shed all his grievances. A new chapter of his life begins, no longer a framed prosecutor but a man willing to live according to his conscience. Today's video comes to a close here. Thank you for following it to the very end. And now, goodbye and see you all in the upcoming videos.